Guess what's back? Back again. NASCAR diecast reviews are back. Tell your friends. Guess what's back? Guess what's back? What's back? Yeah, you get the idea with that. Yes, NASCAR diecast reviews are back on Team Bombersports. Oh yeah! And this is the diecast showcase presented by Race Gear UK, who have provided this diecast right here for me, as well as many others. The class of 2015 is finally here in the UK. I can't wait to show them off to you and bring you them all the stop motion action that they're involved in the coming months. And seeing as I started last year's NASCAR Diecast Review series with Kurt Busch, and then may have said some rather unkind things about the diecast, let's start off this year with Kurt Busch's diecast and see if a year has made all the difference or not. It's on box. Yeah, that's about as much as you need to know about the box. There's no dents or scratches. And this thing got smashed to pieces. Zingy, that's a good word. Oh, excuse me. It's sloppy. I've seen paper customs on YouTube done better than this. So here it is then, first NASCAR diecast review of 2015. Well, the first 2015 batch anyway. It's taken us a long time. But has the wait been worth it? Well, as I said, let's start with Kurt Busch's 2015 Haas CNC Chevrolet for Stuart Haas Racing. And as I say, this was the car that started last year's diecast review series. I'll do a side-by-side of the two of them in a minute. But I thought it fitting to start with Kurt Busch's car for this year because both Kurt Busch himself and this car may well be one of the stories of 2015. Because Kurt Busch himself, well, we don't need to go over what happened at the start of the year. Suspended, and it really did, for a little while, look like his career was completely down the toilet with no hope of salvaging, even with the biggest plunger available. But then the comeback started. He came back, was storming race after race. I still believe he was almost certainly robbed at Fontana with debris cautions. Don't know where the debris was because the TV never showed it. But anyway, in the end, didn't matter that he didn't win that one. He went on to win at Richmond and then win again at, was it Michigan? Was it Michigan, the one that was rain delayed? Yes, I think it was. He ended up winning there as well, so he's well in the chase for this year. So, in actual fact, he's probably doing even better than he did last year, where he won at Martinsville and got in the chase as well. So, all in all, a pretty good year for Kurt Busch, considering how badly it started off. Very nice job, except for the fact that his brother is now usurping him in the epic comeback stakes. But it's been a year of comebacks for the Busch family, and it's a very emotional moment at Sonoma when Kyle led Kurt home for the first ever Busch Brothers 1-2 in NASCAR Sprint Cup competition, which is quite amazing when you think about how long both of them have been in the series. You'd think it would have happened by now, but from going to the first Busch-less race at the start of the year in the Daytona 500 since something like 2000, maybe even earlier than that, to now having the first ever Busch 1-2 at Sonoma. Quite a year for those guys. Great story, both of them. And let's have a look at his car. This is one of the Lionel batches for this year. And you'll remember from last year, by the end of the year, the newest kind of range of diecasts were getting a lot better. Well, I've got to tell you, I'm having a look at this one here. And to start off, it's a hell of a lot better than last year's one. Well, here's last year's car in comparison. I talked about how rubbish it was, how whole sides of the car were not on correctly. I mean, look, falling into it's hideous. Which is a shame, considering this is one of my favourite paint schemes of last year. As you can see, it's just dreadful. The front end, horrible, just get off my screen now. When we compare it to this year's one, it is honestly like night and day. This car really does look the business. It looks fantastic. The new scheme, I'm not quite as much of a fan of it as I was last year's more simplistic scheme, but I do still like it. Red and black, it's a great colour scheme, it's a great combo. And what I find interesting as well, remember he stopped using the Outlaw nickname after Daytona, but it's still on the car there, which tells me that Lionel already had these cars well made and well printed way before that whole controversy went down. So the Outlaw name is still on the car. As far as I know, he doesn't run it anymore. He stopped using the Outlaw nickname. So that's a little thing, but that's a minor blemish because, I mean, the finish is fantastic. Last year's faux matte finish just made it look like it was covered in cling film. It looked horrible. The decals are on very nicely. Yeah, I think the number's a little bit too far up on that side, a tiny bit. Front end looks a lot better, maybe a little bit over to the left. It's not entirely perfect, but even so, I mean, it's great in a way. This isn't a rant. If you're expecting a rant from this video, you're not going to get one on this one. I mean, there may be some real duds up the road, but certainly this one, Lionel have done top jobs on. And I want to hear if you've got this model yourself, you've got this diecast yourself, has the finish been the same for you? Have I been lucky on this one, or has this been the case? Have Lionel really finally stepped up their game this year? They kind of have to be honest, because they've been raising the price of these diecasts the last couple of years now, and really the quality has actually been getting worse the more expensive they've been, so they really needed to step up, especially after the diabolical some of the diecasts they did last year. They were just awful. As I said, I've seen little kids on Instagram do better paper custom diecasts at 3 in the morning. It's well, horrible, just dreadful. In fact, that's almost disrespectful to some of the custom diecast makers on Instagram. That was how bad it was. People in their bedrooms were making better custom diecasts with basically papier-mâché than the main producer of official NASCAR diecast merchandise was. That really says a lot about how dreadful Lionel's efforts were last year. But certainly, at the end of last year they got a lot better. They were gradually improving. This year, certainly starting off on the right foot. This car looks absolutely great. I really want to, having seen David Land's videos especially, I really want to see some of the Spin Master models and do some comparisons, but generally Spin Master do not distribute to the UK, so we don't really get them. We only get the Lionel cars, which is kind of frustrating, especially when Lionel was so terrible, but I think it's better now that at least Lionel are on their game, so it's not like we're losing out really. But I'd like to compare this one to the Spin Master car. I'd be very interested to see that. I believe David Land himself has done a comparison video between the two, so that'll be very interesting to watch. For now, it's been my first NASCAR diecast review, stroke diecast showcase of 2015. It's been a long time coming, it's been a long time, but we finally got 2015 diecast here at Team Bombersports HQ. Big thanks to Race Gear UK. Of course, if you want these diecasts for yourself, you can quote Team Bombersports with your order on Race Gear UK and get a 15% discount. That's my little gift to you, and a little bit of a way of well, I mean, I can't thank those guys enough. They have been huge supporters of Team Bombersports, and they continue to be so going forward. And we appreciate them giving us the diecast for you to for me to review and to put in my stop motion races. And rest assured, this will be one of many stars coming up with some of the NASCAR races we've got coming up, including the Great Britain 500, which, as we stand, we're looking at over 30 cars on the grid for that one. 30 cars! We're getting more than this. We're going to need qualifying heats. It's unprecedented in NASCAR stop motion racing. I can't wait. It's the sort of logistical problem I love. Too much. It's better to have too much than not enough, because too much means we're almost going to be struggling to contain all the noise that we're about to bring. So I'm going to conclude this diecast showcase for you. This has been my diecast showcase on the 2015 Kurt Busch Haas CNC number 41 Chevrolet for Stuart Haas Racing by Lionel. Top job, Lionel. Well done. Let's hope this quality continues all year, and I'll see you on Wednesday.